Nashville would be an example of a city that is
Okay.
booming because it is so pro-construction. People are voting with their feet. If you're not going to build housing in San Francisco, I'm going to move to Nashville. And
Yep.
I actually am a progressive person for the most part. But
Yeah.
this would be one A/B experiment where the conservative side has won. Almost everyone is moving to more conservative parts of the country, even if they personally are liberal, because we're building more housing there. The cost of living is lower there, and the taxes are lower there. And so some of that is a race to the bottom, that they want good schools and good roads without paying the taxes, or they want to start a company in California and then sell the stock for it in Texas, which you can take issue with. But some of it is about just the fact that I can find a home to buy at almost any price, because in Nashville, they are building them hand over fist. And so
Yeah. What's the next city after Nashville, you think? I'm curious.
Atlanta would be
what
another
other
example.
cities when you go down?
Let me give you another tale of two cities is just Seattle and Vancouver. So Vancouver is about 3 hours north of here. It's in Canada. It does actually look a little bit like Hong Kong. It's been very welcoming to immigrants. And that city has been booming. When there was this huge real estate crisis in the United States, Canada did not have that problem. There were plenty of people who wanted to move there. Prices kept going up, but at a reasonable rate, because they have built so much density. And so if you were to compare Seattle to Vancouver, two cities that used to be very similar, there is much more density in Vancouver, and it's an incredible, beautiful, walkable city. If you're an urbanist, you love Vancouver.
My God, it's wonderful. I actually went there and I was just like transfixed with how vibrant it was. I was like, this reminds me of Sydney, another high-functioning city I love. A city by the bay. And that is very interesting, the two cities, both of them very liberal. And then during the Trump era, correct me if I'm wrong, those 4 years, United States was blocked off for Indian or Asian immigrants in large part. And Canada, I had a person very high up in the government say to me, J-Cal, you have people you want for your startups, we'll take them here. We'll give you tax credits, and the cost of living will be lower. We will get them a visa in under 10 days. Just email us. And I was like, I've never gotten that phone call from Trump's office or from Biden's office or Obama's previously. I was like, wow, Canada is aggressive. It is a competition right now for talented people, is it not?
Yeah. Well, we've had people get stuck on the wrong side of the border, where you employ a Chinese national who goes back home and then can't get into the United States to do his job at Redfin. And so we ended up opening an office in Vancouver for that purpose. And I know so many other tech companies that are doing that. So I guess there's something for everyone of every political stripe in this podcast so far. There's some liberal policies that work. There's some conservative policies that work. I hope you can be ecumenical about it and really pick the best ideas regardless of your politics.
Well, I mean, it is one of the great things about, it's not, this is a podcast about innovation and startups. And I think what you're saying is the 50 states in the United States, as well as some, next to us like Canada and regions, are actually like startups now, and they're innovating and they have an offering for consumers, and those consumers are businesses and citizens. And that means two types of real estate. I know you don't work in the commercial real estate space, but we have something like 14 Salesforce towers of open office space in San Francisco. What is going to happen in commercial real estate in a city like San Francisco, given that you had massive building of commercial real estate in San Francisco, and at the same time, work from home appeals most to the companies who were there, and nobody, including yourself or myself, wants to live in San Francisco. I lived in San Francisco. I left. It wasn't safe for my family. I wanted more space, and I didn't appreciate the way it was being run. And so what happens to all that commercial real estate, if you had to speculate?
Well, first of all, I think San Francisco is mostly a safe city, and it's a beautiful city. So I left for my own reasons, but it's not a rejection of the city. I do wish that they had been more aggressive about solving the housing crisis by building more housing. But massive deflation is what's ahead for commercial real estate, because even if you convert some of those buildings into condos, the rationale for living downtown was to be next to Twitter or Salesforce or whatever your employer was. And now when people are working remotely, I don't think they necessarily want to live downtown as much. So just looking at the housing market for single family homes, as you had already observed, has been red hot. The housing market for condos has been less so. Some of that's about sharing a air conditioning or heating system with other people. But mostly it's just about the fact that people have wanted more space. So I don't think that converting commercial real estate into residential is going to solve many problems. I actually, my kid is on a soccer team with another kid whose parent owns the building that Redfin leases. And he was telling me that, I know y'all are coming back. Commercial's going to be back bigger than ever. That's just watching the game. I don't think so.
Like, okay, fella.
Yeah.
That's optimistic. I mean, being delusional is part of being a great entrepreneur, isn't it? Like, you have to be a little delusional. But that's straight up delusional. The idea that tech companies are going to be able to take people who have left and relocated, like you said, to a bigger space and who are working from home. I mean, that's just farcical that'll happen in our lifetimes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, almost every CEO right now is comparing the length of their leases because we're all trying to figure out when we can get out.
Yeah.
Oh, you just signed a 10-year lease in 2019. Oh, man, what are you going to do about that? And then somebody else will say, I signed a 10-year lease in 2011. And so it came due at the perfect time. And if you look at the companies...
back,
well, we sort of went through peak office in 2020 or 2021, early 2021, where Facebook and Google weren't just doing the sushi chef and the little ball thing that you jump into, but they were also thinking about building housing for their employees next to the campus, and Apple broke ground, and Salesforce had this big tower, and it was just peak office. And now the companies that were most militant about asking people to come back are the ones that had the biggest edifice complex, the ones who had either built their own space or signed a very long lease or did something that was sort of an ego trip, kind of landscape architecture and crazy building architecture. And it just seems a little silly now. And so turns out people work well remotely, as you've probably already established on this show.
Healthy and happy employees create successful companies, and that's a fact. Com for Business can help your employees be their best selves at work. Partner with the #1 mental fitness app, provide support and tools for all of your employees. Com can help kickstart mental well-being initiatives by empowering employees to stress less and to rest better and build their resilience. Com has an entire library of content specifically designed for the workplace. And it includes lo-fi music playlists so you can get in that flow state, quick breathing breaks, guided meditations, and hundreds of soothing sleep stories so that your team gets a great night's sleep and they come back the next day ready to take on the world. They even have programs tailored for mental health and productivity, like their Mindfulness at Work series. Millions of employees at over 600 companies like LinkedIn, Iterable, and Universal Studios use Com for Business. I have been a Com user and I was an investor in the company. Luckily, it's such a great company. It works so well. And I'm so proud of them that they have this business product now, because a lot of my employees are under a lot of stress, not just because they work for me, but working from home, all the things going on in the world. You need a little equanimity, and the way you're going to get that is with Com for Business. So get in there, folks. Com is offering a free well-being ebook for HR and benefit leaders and 1 month free after you attend a free demo at com.com/twist. That's right, a free ebook and 1 month free after just attending a simple demo at com.com/twist. Once again, CALM.com/TWIST.